Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Game Chat. I'm Chris, and with me today we have Jake.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about, is it Strangers of Paradise? Is that what it's called?
Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
What a stupid name.
It's Square Enix, they love
But
their
like,
long
why not
confusing
put
names.
Final Fantasy Origin first, then Stranger of Paradise? That would have made more sense.
I
but
mean,
Square
you're
Enix
not
be
wrong.
Square Enix. I say we're going to talk about it. Mainly Jake, because Jake's the only one who's really played it. Finished it, in fact. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've finished the story. I've not done all the side quests and
Okay.
stuff.
But I haven't played it, but Jake's finished it, so I figured we'd get his views on it, and I'll just be here as someone he can talk at, and you can ask questions. Because I do have a lot of questions about this game, to be fair. Because it's something I'm interested in, but I don't know. I want to hear it from someone whose opinion I trust first. So, no pressure, Jake.
Okay.
But, I mean, wherever you want to start, I mean, overall, just generally, thoughts.
Just generally, this is one of the best, worst games I've ever played.
What a way to start that. Okay.
Like, I've got so many mixed feelings about it.
Wow.
I just don't know. I still don't know what to think about it, to be honest.
I mean, how many hours did you say? How many hours do you reckon you
think-
played?
Just focusing on the story, it took me about 20 hours.
Okay, so it's not really that big.
No,
Surprisingly.
it's not like Final Fantasy 15 levels.
No, which was massive. I mean, where do you want to start? Gameplay, story, whichever. Like, just or wherever you want to start, just go basically.
So the gameplay is actually really good. Like, I really like how the combat works. The fighting, each enemy's got like a little break meter, and then when you break them, you can like smash them into crystal, and that like insta kills them, which is really good when you're fighting boss fights because you can get that down, and then like each boss will have like 2 break gauges. So one will take it down to half health, and one will take it down to like no health.
So it's basically a stagger meter, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. And then the combat works a bit more like a Dark Souls game where you have to like focus on dodging and
See, I was going to ask
carrying
that,
on
like
stuff.
how much of a dark, like a Souls-like, is it in terms of the combat?
Well, you know that I fully cannot stand Souls-like games,
Which is why I was surprised you played this, to be honest.
but this has, praise the Lord, story mode difficulty,
Okay, so
so I could get through it.
is the combat?
You still have
Does the
to
combat
dodge roll
change?
quite a
I was
lot,
going to say,
yeah.
does it change or how you would play the game, or is it more just you just don't take as much damage, kind of thing?
You just don't take as much damage, really.
Okay.
You still have to dodge a fair bit, especially in the boss battles, but it seems like doable because you don't die in 2 hits.
Okay.
The magic, because I always play RPGs as a mage, the magic is really good. I was really impressed by how they handled, because obviously, like classic Final Fantasy, it'd all be behind a menu. Thank you, Mr. Motorbike, for ruining my life. So, like in classic Final Fantasy games, the magic would all be hidden behind menus, so you'd have to go like,
Yeah.
I want to use magic. I want to use fire magic.
Yeah.
In 15, the magic was kind of left to the side.
Sort of. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. It was.
And then in 7 Remake, it was good, but you still had the menu aspect to it. So with this one, you hold the magic button down, and it opens like a radial menu.
Okay.
And you can pick which spell you want to cast from that. And the longer you hold the menu down, the more like charged up the spell is.
Oh.
So like fire would be like you just click it essentially. Fire would be you hold it for a little
Hold
bit,
it
and
longer.
Fire Go would be like you hold it longer.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Each class will have different. So obviously, there's some that don't have magic at all.
Yeah.
But then there's some classes that do, and they have a different like range of spells.
Okay.
So like the red mage, which is meant to be a hybrid of black and white. Never understood why they call it red and not grey, but you know.
Yeah.
That will have like a few examples of both, whereas a black mage and a white mage would have all black magic or all white magic.
Okay.
And
So
then
is that like a subclass within the mage class, like those three, or is it?
so the classes work like you have basic classes which are tied to which weapon you're using.
Okay.
So if you're using like Knuckles, you'll be I think it's called a pugilist.
They're like a boxer, basically.
Yeah. And then like if you're using a hammer, you'll be a mage.
Okay.
A lance, you'll be a lancer. Things like that.
Swords, you'd be
And then
swordsman.
well, you'd be surprised because a
Oh,
swordsman uses a great sword and a sword fighter uses a sword. So
what?
so
Okay.
like you get to the level up screen where you can choose like your perks for your class or whatever as you play through, you unlock them. And then at the bottom there'll be advanced classes.
Okay.
And some of them only require you to unlock it in one class, and some of them require you to unlock it in two.
Okay.
So like the black mage, you only need to unlock it in the mage class tree. But the paladin, I think it is, you need I think it's either the one with the great sword and the white mage.
Yeah,
And you
because
need to
that's like a
unlock it in both before you can use
combination
it.
of both a paladin, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes
And
sense.
then you advance classes, you get to the bottom of those, and there's expert classes.
Do you have all the so I assume the advanced classes and stuff, you don't have them unlocked at the start. You have to kind of like
You have to unlock them
build
through this,
to
like,
them.
yeah.
So did that mean like did you stay mage all the way through, or did you
No,
mix and match?
because the expert classes, you get a trophy for unlocking each one. So I knew that I had to mix and match.
So you mix and matching.
But I unlocked all the mage ones first because that's just what I like. If I'm not like grinding, that's what I'll play as. And if you're playing on story difficulty, playing as a mage, why is there a car alarm? I told you, like every noise would be going off as soon as we started recording. If you, I've completely lost my train of thought now.
Bloody car alarm.
Yeah, if you play as a mage, it's basically easy mode.
Yeah.
Because most of the enemies have an elemental weakness, and you can just cheese them with the mage class because you have access to all the elements apart from like light and dark. But then, so I was playing as a mage who was wielding a hammer that had light magic imbued into it.
Mm.
And then my like subclass, because you can have two,
was
like a ninja with like a dark imbued katana. So I had everything covered.
Okay.
But yeah, so the gameplay, I'd rate it quite highly.
Is that the best bit about the game, the gameplay?
Yeah. The rest of it. So the story, the graphics are kind of ugly.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the graphics because I played.
Everything's dark and red.
Yeah, I played the first.
Kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the fuzziness because I played the first two demos, which is why I didn't pick this game up at launch because they didn't run the best, and the fuzziness it looked like a PS3 game because of the fuzziness.
I don't think it's a problem with the graphics. I think that was an intentional design. Yeah.
Might not have worked out well for them.
So
why? Why would the fuzziness be intentional?
I don't know. Like the characters look okay. I'll give it that. The characters look okay, but the graphics aren't the best. The story, if you try and pay too much attention to it, doesn't make the blindest bit of sense.
That's like breaking into a car by you or something.
I don't know. There's always some kind of alarm going off here. This is what happens when you live in Birmingham City Centre, you know. So like the story makes zero sense. If you try and think about it, you're like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, because every time I've seen the story in like trailers or just like clips going around Twitter, it seems very memey. Like it seems like they've written it badly on purpose to kind of lean into it.
Badly on purpose. That's
no. See, I would have figured like because of the reaction like people had to like the first trailer when like he walks away with music playing Limp Bizkit playing out of his phone and everyone's like that's a meme, right? No, that's real. That's real, and it's so weird. I feel like Square Enix kind of lent into the bizarreness of it all.
And the characters are really shallow and one-dimensional.
Yeah, Like,
There's no real like. The idea is, without spoiling too much, that they're all strangers,
Strangers of Paradise.
even to themselves. They don't have their own memories.
What? So why they?
Yeah.
So they don't know why they're there, really.
Apart from to kill chaos.
That yeah, because yeah, all I
That's
hear
all
is
they know.
about them killing chaos. That's all I know. Wow.
And that's their entire personality. And then when you get your memories back, your personality doesn't really grow.
Do they not like build like? Do they build a relationship with each other like as they go? Like, are
Oh
they
yeah, like
become
there's
friends
two
and
of
stuff?
them who are clearly friends.
Hmm.
And so you start the game with two companions, Ash and Jed.
That's the one with
Ash is like
the pink
your
hair
punchy
and
one,
the one that
and
looks.
Jed's a little twink, yeah.
Yeah, the little twin that actually looks like a Final Fantasy character as opposed to the
Yeah.
other two.
Yeah. And they're all clearly friends.
Hmm.
But then out of nowhere, you just like they start talking about you behind your back. But you can hear them because you're the player.
Right.
And they're just like, oh, I wonder if Jack's gonna like beat this boss up because he's our excellent fighter, you know. I hope he can't hear me praising him. And it's like, okay.
The fact that I know you're not making up the bad dialogue there, that's actually the dialogue from the game, is
It's just
hilarious.
like they say stuff, and it's just like, what? And like, I just don't. Then you get two other companions who join you, Neon and Sophia. Sophia is a MILF. I'm just going to straight up say
I need to
that.
look into
Um,
this.
as a gay man, I would. Neon is like a girl who you pick up
Hmm.
after the first dungeon, and Sophia after the first like big boss. Um, they just are kind of there,
Yeah.
fill out numbers, I guess.
They all like. I assume they're all different classes. Like they kind of provide something in the fight.
So they start off with a basic class, and then as you do side quests, you can unlock additional classes for them.
Okay. But does it build on their like original class, or can you completely change how they play? Kind of.
They kind of do and don't. So like, the no, I can't remember what Sophia's was. Like Jed, the little like pink-haired one.
Yeah.
He starts out as a like a rogue. I don't know what the actual name of the class is because I've forgotten.
Mhm.
And then he turns into a thief, which is like a natural evolution. And then he turns into like a samurai.
Okay.
And then I don't know what his last one is because I didn't do any of the side quests because they were really boring.
Yeah, that's something else I was going to ask. Like how it like you tell us the main story is bonkers, but like side quests
The
are any
side
of them
quests
good?
are
Like
just like you go on your map where you've done your story missions,
Hmm.
and then you press a tab, and it'll tell you if there's a quest there, and then it'll be like go and kill this enemy, or go and kill 5 pirates, go and kill 3 Tomberries who can one shot you, and that's where I dropped off, as you can probably guess.
Hmm.
And it's just like, okay, I guess. There's no like you can watch cutscenes of characters in Cornelia, the like hub town, if you can call it that,
Right.
talking about what you're doing, but you never interact with anybody. It's always like an office interview where like they're talking to the camera, and it's just like,
That's weird.
why do I care? Like, if it's not getting me anything and it's not progressing the story, it's not interacting with my character. Why do I care what this random blacksmith thinks?
Okay.
Like, but then you're playing the game, you're like, this is fun.
So it's the gameplay that keeps you hooked, I guess.
Yeah, and
Like
then even the story, it made no sense
even
to me. I was
is it
playing it
is
and I
it
was like, I
because
want to know
it's
what happens next.
comically bad that keeps you hooked, or is there something there that's like story wise
It's
that's
genuinely like you played a bit of the game and then you're like, right, what happens next? I'm gonna play another mission. I want to know.
how much more like batshit crazy can this get?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay.
There's a point in the story where it does a complete U-turn
In a
from
good or
what I
bad
thought
way.
the story was going to be. In a way that, as someone who's played every main series Final Fantasy game apart from the online ones, I saw coming a mile off. But I was still shocked that they did it.
Hmm.
And I called it to Nathan 3 hours before it happened.
That's not good writing if you call in the end. I was going to ask, like, what would you say, like, are the highlights of the game? Are the boss fights like the highlights of the game, or is it more the general combat kind of thing?
The general combat, I'd say the boss fights are good, but they're just an extension of the general combat. They don't
Hmm.
feel different. They just feel longer.
Do any of the bosses stand out, or is it just they're just like big versions of the small things?
Um,
Obviously, if you can't
most
say any because of spoilers, that's fair.
a few of them are bosses from the original Final Fantasy game.
Okay, so that's cool. A
So the
little throwback.
premise that they said the story was that it was a dark retelling of the original Final Fantasy. However, it is not a dark retelling of the original Final Fantasy. That is a load of bollocks. It's
Dark because it's fuzzy and you can't see.
they're like it's an alternate universe take on it, and I'm like, it's not though.
I feel like they're doing a lot of that with Final
I
Fantasy
can't say
generally.
any more without
Okay,
it being a spoiler.
fair enough. Would you say the gameplay in this game is up there with some of the best Final Fantasies, or is it just okay, or is it one of the worst?
I'm. It's one of the better of the action RPG Final Fantasies
Okay.
because I don't feel like you can compare the turn-based to the action ones because they're completely different.
Do you reckon? Is this a spin-off? Like, obviously, it's not a main. Does it count as a mainline Final Fantasy? Like,
I think you could count it as either.
do you think we get more of this style of Final Fantasy, like the Souls like Final Fantasy? Do you reckon
God,
after this we get more, or is it just a one-off attempt at trying something and then?
I hope not because apart from the mage class, I feel like all the others were kind of simplified, but
Okay,
not simplified in the fact they were easy to understand. Simplified in the fact that you can just mash buttons.
but that's on story difficulty, to be
Yeah,
fair.
to be
So
fair,
like
yeah.
maybe it would be harder on thingy. It wasn't when I played the demos on like normal. It wasn't easy.
And I don't like that. The one thing I didn't like is that to use your abilities as the other classes, you have to do like combos.
Oh,
And I'm like a main Final Fantasy fan. Give me a menu over a combo any day.
yeah. I know a lot of people are like that. To be fair. So does it sort of feel like a Dark Souls crossed with like Devil May Cry then with like the combos and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say it felt more like Devil May Cry on story mode than Dark Souls.
Yeah. You know the
The
interesting
only
thing about
thing that
this?
was Dark Souls is that I had to dodge a lot and the enemies respawn when you save.
Yeah, yeah, like the whole like the bonfires and the whatever they're
Yeah,
called. Um,
all cubes in this game, even though they're not cube shaped.
another weird decision.
I think they are when you walk up to them, but then they split and they like turn into these circle things, and I'm like, it's not a cube.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Well, I was gonna say, um, who do you think this game is for? Do you think it's for just general Final Fantasy fans? Is it for the hardcore? Is it for people who like Dark Souls and Final Fantasy? Like, who do you reckon they're aiming this at?
I've not got a clue. If I'm being
I
perfectly
mean,
honest, I've
would you
not
say
got a
you're a
clue.
hardcore Final Fantasy fan?
Yeah,
Do you feel this game was for you?
no.
Even though you did get something out of it, though, would
I enjoyed it, and I bought it because it was a Final Fantasy game.
would you recommend it to other hardcore Final Fantasy fans? Would they get something out of
Yes,
it? Yeah.
I would recommend it to only because it does enhance the story of one ever so slightly,
Okay.
and it is fun.
Would you recommend it to a Final Fantasy fan who's never played one?
Yes, because then you get to experience one in a new light, even though you've not played it, and you still get the same story beats mostly up until the end.
Okay. This sort, yeah. It sort of brings one into like the modern age in a way.
Yeah,
Would you? And the last one I'm going to ask with this is: would you recommend this game just in general?
absolutely. It's a mess. It is a hot mess. If you like really in-depth, story-driven, character-driven games like I do, it disappoints on every level, but you still find yourself wanting more.
Okay, so like, see, I'm conflicted because I feel like
See what I
whenever
mean? It's like everything I have to say about it, nearly everything I have to say about it is bad. But then I'm like, but it's amazing.
it's like it's a mess, but like, is it worth it? Is it like watching a good bad movie? If you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is that what it's like?
yeah, exactly. It is exactly like that.
Okay, so yeah,
And it's the kind
there's
of
some
thing like you
enjoyment in
tell
it.
other people to watch the movie because it's so bad,
Yeah,
and it's that good that it's that bad is good.
so it's definitely not going to be anywhere near your game of the year
I've even
list.
got the season pass, and I've got it
No,
waiting for the
why?
DLC to come out
Wow,
because I
can't
just need more of how
can't get worse, can it?
it was like Nomura hired a bunch of like edgy 13-year-olds off Twitter to write a Final Fantasy game
That's
with the
amazing.
help of an AI bot.
Amazing. Uh, it does. It's like I'm conflicted because it's like, how much is it?
I don't know. To be fair, I don't actually know.
You buy it.
I
I'm
pre-ordered it, so it was full price when I paid for it.
gonna quick check. I think it's probably 70 quid in it.
Probably.
That's my guess. Uh,
One thing that I do like about it, and I will give them a lot of credit for this, their 3 demos all showed a marked improvement from each other.
yeah. To be fair, when I played the second, I didn't get around to the third demo because it was like what a week before the game come out, and I'm
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna play the game rather than just play another
The
demo.
third demo is literally just the opening of the game.
Is it
Like the
still
opening, I think
so? Is it
it's
still the same castle and everything? Or is it the
yeah.
castle in the first demo, and then you had like the jungle area in the second?
I say the opening of the game, it's literally like the opening 4 to 5 levels of the game. It's a good 4 hours.
Oh, it's 50 quid, not 70.
That's not too bad.
Would you recommend it for that price, or would you ever say people like wait maybe for a sale or maybe
If you're not
Game
like a
Pass because we know what
hardcore
Square
fan,
Enix are like? They'll put it
if
in
you're
Game
not a
Pass 5 months
hardcore
later.
fan, I would wait for it to become cheaper.
Okay, yeah, I might do that.
If you're a hardcore fan, you like Dark Souls, you like Devil May Cry, you like Final Fantasy, you like all of those things, and you want a mismatch of all of them that price its best, I think. Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
I wouldn't judge anyone for playing the game.
I'm glad you played it because I was like, is any of us gonna
You
play
know
this?
what?
Because I
I'm
kind
glad I
of
played it.
I want to see, and I was like, I don't want to pay for it and do it myself because I might not like it. And obviously, I'm playing Elden Ring at the moment, so I'm not dragging myself away from anything, away from that for anything. But like after Elden Ring, if I still kind of feel like I need a Dark Soulsy type experience, I might jump into this
It
eventually.
is paining me so much that I can't tell you full spoilers, though, I will say.
Well, my guess is 5 months later it's going to come to Game Pass. So, because that's what happens with a
I
lot of
mean,
Square Enix games,
yeah.
like Guardians. It happened with, especially when they don't hit sales that they want, and I can't see this hitting sales that they
What
want. To be
baffles me
honest,
about this, though, is that it's had quite good reviews.
yeah, the Metacritic's like score was like 73, and I was like,
They were averaging
this
around
is
like
higher than I expected.
75, 85, like between those two, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's higher than
huh,
I. Yeah, because I know when I looked at it, it was like the only reason it's so low is because there's a few that are really low that
yeah.
brought the Metacritic number down, but like it was higher than I expected it to be. People are, but I do. From what I have heard, people are in this like they're on in the same mindset as you. Like it's a good bad game, but it's still fun
Yeah.
and yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, I hated some of the story and the characters because I was just like, this is so unnecessarily confusing. It's telling the story of one in a really roundabout way with boring ass characters. And then I'm like, it gets to the bit where the story changes, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I literally stayed up to play it because I just needed to know what was going on. Even though I'd already guessed what was going on, I kind of knew.
You're like, I need to get clarification that I'm right.
I didn't think they'd have the like audacity and the gumption to actually do that, but they did, and I'm quite proud of them.
We'll leave it there. But that's Jake's views on Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Got the name right. Check it out if you're into Dark Souls, Devil May Cry, and Final Fantasy.
It's just having a good time.
Yeah.
If you like fun without thinking too hard about it, it's the game for you.
Fair enough. Let us know if you're playing it, what you think of the game, and what clash you're going with Job Boys. And leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more.
And my last piece of advice for people playing the game is, if you're trying to get the trophy for unlocking all jobs, and you unlock all the jobs and you don't get it, and you're fuming and you're looking around for a job in all the job trees for like 10 minutes, you get one for beating the game.
That is a good tip, to be fair, because that would piss me off if I was trying to platinum the game.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, like, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.